Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor Community Connection, and we've got a great show for you today. Certainly an honor to be here with always the boss, Mr. Steve Taylor, and our very special guest, Mr. Andy Golding from Kripke Enterprises. And Andy, you're the Chief Strategy Officer and partner, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
We were chatting off air, we should get it on air. How we kind of met and the genesis, it was really Steve's idea to say, hey, we need to get Andy in here because you two think the same way. You were talking about the things that you do for your employees at Kripke Industries, and it just kind of took us aback. I mean, Steve does a million things, but you're kind of replicating, you guys are in the same ballpark doing the same things. So twofold for you to start with, Andy. Tell us what I know, and Steve knows what Kripke Enterprises is, and it's a very important industry for our economy. Maybe tell the folks in general what that is, and then talk a little bit about the great things you're doing for your employees.
So Kripke Enterprises is a recycling company.
Yes.
And what is a recycling company? We all hear so much about recycling. So what recycling really is, at the essence of recycling, is collecting metal.
Right.
In our case, collecting metal. Some people collect glass, some people collect plastic, some people collect paper. We collect metal. We do it on a national basis and we do it on a local basis. Locally, we collect it on the corner of Central and Centennial, where people can come in and know that their material is being processed and recycled, and the material that we have, that we recycle, goes into other materials, into cars, into washing machines. Anything that's made out of metal in this country starts a good portion of it with recycled materials. So we do that on the corner of Central and Centennial. And really for us, it's almost a community service because people don't want their stuff to go to landfills. People don't want their, they want to make sure that the value of their material is being used. So that's one thing. The other thing that we do is we buy and sell huge lots, 40,000 pound lots of aluminum. We buy it from what are traditionally called scrap yards or recycling centers, and we sell them to mills that get melted down and made into other stuff. We've been in business for 30 years. We are like the original, not us, but our industry is like the original green industry. I mean, it's,
right.
If you want to talk green, that is recycling. So, and where this material really comes from, not only does it come from people whose chairs and lawn chairs and screen doors, but the other place it comes from, and you guys know this well, is when you are making a car and you're making a car door, it happens in a stamping plant. And steel coil comes into the stamping plant, or aluminum coil comes in, and the window of the door is, cut out. So you have a huge piece of aluminum or steel and the window is cut out. Well, that piece of metal is collected, it's densified, and that is what's called industrial recycling. The industrial recycling is really where metal recycling's power is. As much as we do our best to recycle when we see something, to put a can in it, or to potentially put it at the end of your driveway, the bulk of recycling happens on an industrial scale. If you know someone who's got a tool and die shop,
yes,
they collect that metal. If someone is a plumber, they collect that metal. And here's, a kind of an interesting story, and which one way it gets us to here, a guy that collects copper, who's a plumber, he's an entrepreneur, he's really an entrepreneur. And so he collects, maybe he's done a couple jobs and he collects a couple 100 pounds of copper. He brings that to us. We pay him for what is literally, potentially years ago, junk. We pay him, and a guy can come into our place with a couple 100 pounds of copper and leave with like $4,000.
Right.
I mean, it's bananas how much value there is in recycling. So, when you're doing that kind of good for the community and for the country, you know, you have to do well for your employees too. And we take that very seriously. And, you know, in our business, I would say, especially with our people that do processing, safety is our number one priority. We want to make sure that everyone is safe at all times. And we probably do more than we need to, because, you know, everyone going home with all the limbs and pieces and parts that they came in with is really important to us.
I'm sure that could be, with the machines you're working on daily, that's probably a pretty important thing. We got to tell the viewers too that they probably recognize your voice. We talked about doing some radio commercials, and I think it's something about get weighed, get paid, right?
I mean, we have had so much fun with our radio. Some guys, a friend of mine came to me and said, Andy, I think you should do radio. And I said, nobody listens to radio. Everybody has Sirius. Everyone has all
See
that
in a
stuff.
Kia, Steve Taylor.
Yeah, and it's like, I was shocked. I did radio to boost our retail, and people fly in, and you know, you did it with your face. I did it with my voice, and people, you know, who is that guy? And you know, with you, it's easier. But we've come up with some crazy stuff, and we really like to keep it that way because we want it to be fun.
They're
Just like
good
you
spots,
guys do.
Andy.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
And you have a distinctive voice.
Yeah,
I think the distinctive voice thing plays. It plays on the radio. It really does.
Nasal and
no, it's distinctive, and that's what you want. You know, that's what you want.
We talked about being memorable, and obviously your radio commercials are very memorable. And I think people might not, you know, you hear car dealers all the time, right? Like there's certain industries that you hear being advertised, but hearing somebody from your industry, you know, talking about recycling, it's not something that probably people were, you know, used to hearing. So it was a great idea, and obviously it's done a great job for you.
Yeah.
So we first met at the University of Toledo doing Right Business Spotlight, where we were both fortunate enough to be awarded winners for what we've done in the community.
We were nominated. We were nominated.
Well, you guys have done so much for your employees, and one of the things I believe that was we talked about at that event was things that you do behind the scenes for your people, and there's even something with housing that you help people with. And I was taken aback. I thought, because we try to do a lot for our people also. I think it's so important, and you hit the nail on the head. You want to have happy employees, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. We're trying to always have fun and do things differently, both in the community and for our coworkers. We talk about the 3 C's: our customers, our coworkers, and our community. And I feel like there's a commonality there with your company and our company. But talk a little bit about what you guys offer your employees with the housing. I thought it blew me away.
So a number of years ago, Matt Kripke, who's the CEO of the company, came to the executive group and said, you know, I really want to help people get a house, because some of the people that worked for us maybe were in, not transient housing, but they just weren't in their own place. And he felt it was essential to have your own home. So we went out to a number of banks, and we found a bank that helped us sort of develop this program. So our program is a first-time homeowners program. The program starts with, we have a 6-month monthly sessions about, you know, keeping your finances together. And, you know, a lot of us don't have someone to bounce stuff off of.
Absolutely correct.
And so this was a great way to do that. So the bank comes in, they talk about checking accounts and credit and things that maybe to some is easy and to others is foreign. I mean, you guys are in the credit business. You know that not everyone fully understands.
Sure.
So after you go through the 6-month program and you have an understanding and you've been with us for a year, we work with you. You find a house. If you put up a certain amount of money for the house, we match that amount. And then on a monthly basis for the next 36 months after you've purchased your house, we also, I'd say, pitch in for your mortgage.
Wow.
So after 3 years, we hope that you've been established enough, and it's great. I think to date we've had 5 homeowners, 5 people that have gone from non-homeowners to homeowners. One of them, one of them is a really nice young man. He bought a house that I don't want to say exactly where.
Yeah.
For his sake, he bought a house that's not too far away, that's next to a bar. And when he bought that, I thought, this bar, I don't know, he's not like 8 feet tall. I thought, this might be a little rough to be next to this particular bar. Well, as it's turned out, he's become great friends with the owner of the bar, and kind of the people at the bar know to keep him and his stuff away.
Got it.
And as it also turns out, it's not that far from our office, so I think there are on occasions where people go to the bar and maybe even on other occasions end up at his house.
Oh, nice.
So it's really been a great program, and it is really been a Matt Kripke, who is the CEO, gets like 100% of the credit. It was, as all of us have ideas that we have executed, this was one that was just so important to him, and I know how proud he is every time that we do that with the homeowner.
Sure.
So it's really nice.
What a great program. And
Yeah.
what an incentive for your team, that they know that you're behind there and that you're willing to get involved and help out. Because homeownership, especially today, it's an uphill battle. It doesn't matter who you are. So
yeah, it really is. And I think that the 6 months of learning, is so important. And even when, you guys have people, I'm sure, that come in here, they look together, they appear as though they're all together, and you pull their credit report and it's like, boy.
They don't teach it in school. They don't really teach credit.
Right.
Everybody should take a credit course in high school or in college. They don't, a lot of times people don't understand it, and then sometimes bad things happen to good people. They lose a job, no fault of their own, a parent gets sick, something happens. So all of those things mix together, but when you understand what you can do to change your credit position, because it can be changed. A couple of years of hard work and paying the bills and getting it straight will change your number. You're not doomed forever in that situation. But it was so exciting to me to have you here, Andy, is because, again, you and Steve are so similar in the way you go about things with people, because to me, football is kind of a metaphor for life. And I learned a lesson in football, and that is that people that you work with under your watch, the players, they don't really care what you know as far as X and O's. They only care when they find out that you care about them.
Right.
And you and Steve and your company and Taylor Automotive shows their people day after day after day that they care. That's got to make a huge difference in the way people work at their jobs, how they see their futures. It's life changing.
So, it's such a great point, and it isn't perfect. What you're saying isn't perfect. And so, we've been fortunate, we've been recognized as a top workplace.
Yes.
And there's one part about top workplace, and that is they survey your team.
Got it.
And, if the surveys come back, depending on how they are, you are, nominated and then eventually win. And, we take it a step further, and the step further that we do is that our HR department has one-on-one meetings with everyone in the company. And the big challenge with listening to everyone in the company is you can't listen unless you're willing to change. Because nobody wants to just bellyache and then say, well, we can't do anything about that.
Right.
Because you really feel like, why am I even saying it if you're not going to do anything? So our HR department is headed by Emily Fisher. She does a wonderful job. She listens to our employees, and then she brings back the feedback. The feedback, as you both know, sometimes is easy and sometimes it's hard.
Sure.
And and I catch myself saying this hopefully less and less, but that's just the way we do it. And it's like there's a whole new group of young people that are starting to work for us that they don't care that's the way you do it. They want to know how come you do it that way. Well, the reason we do it that way is because that's how we've been doing it.
Right.
And so one example for us was we got some feedback that we have an office meeting. We have 25 people get together, and these office meetings were drudgery. They were they were run by our CFO, who's a wonderful guy, Scott Chafee, wonderful guy, but maybe not the type of maybe the accounting department
Right,
doesn't
right,
need
right.
to be running all your
I've been to a
office
few of those
meetings.
meetings.
Not
Right.
telling stand-up jokes and
Right.
magic tricks.
So, some of the feedback was, hey, these office meetings, we all get together and we feel like we're missing an opportunity
Yeah.
to connect more.
Yeah.
And we're listening to numbers that I'm not even sure everyone understood. So we went to our youngest 2 people that work for us, and I said to them, look, study what makes great office meetings. Just study it. We are going to redo our office meeting. You study it. We had a woman who is 23 years old that took it upon herself to study what makes great office meetings. Now she runs our office meeting. She's
Wow.
23. She's been there for 1 year on October 2nd.
Wow.
She runs our office meeting. We cut out all the BS because we didn't need it. No one understood it.
Yep.
It's more about getting together, having a little fun, having some icebreakers, getting to know each other better, getting the real important information out, and then just spending a little bit of time with each other, that we're not all,
Yeah.
finance and sales
Yeah.
and service like
Yeah.
you guys have. We're all one company. So it's really worked well. And the first time she stood up in this meeting and told everyone to be quiet, it was like, this is wild, to have someone who's 23, who hasn't even been here a year, run this. But now we have a great office meeting and we make changes and stuff. But, listening to your employees is great as long as you're prepared to take
act
action.
on it.
To action. And we've been
That-
successful that we're able to do
Andy,
that.
that's such a salient point because I work with Steve, so it comes back to Steve. But he gets hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas because his door's always open, which I'm
Right.
sure yours is too. And people come in and, hey, boss, we should do it this way. Same thing you're talking about. And I can't tell you one time where Steve's ever said, well, that's a really stupid idea. Get out of here.
Right.
What he does is he takes the ideas, say, okay, well, maybe that's not exactly what we need to do, but he'll take your semi-good, bad idea, tweak it, turn it around, and it's something good for the company, and you think, hey, I've really delivered something here. It's that same principle of listening to folks, and they all have good ideas.
And they want a little ownership.
Absolutely they
Right.
do, 100%.
Right.
Is there any way we could get her contact name and number? Maybe she could teach me on the keys to holding successful meetings.
So it's funny. So the one other thing that I do with her is that we have a TikTok channel. And I said to her, look, you're in charge of TikTok.
Yeah.
I said, and I've been to so many social media meetings of
Yep.
people in our industry and others, and it's so complicated. But the most important thing about social media, in my humble opinion, is authenticity.
Sure.
You
100%.
got to be, you
Yep.
can do some of the addy stuff,
yeah,
but then you
yeah.
have to have something that's authentic.
Yep, 100%.
So I said to her, look, you have 100% autonomy. I'm not going to approve, you just do what you want to do. And like last week, we had like 29,000 views
Wow.
on a TikTok that she did about our industry and about tariffs. And I mean, it was amazing.
Oh, cool.
And she went to an industry meeting earlier this year in Mobile, Alabama. She walked in and everyone said, hey, I know you, Alyssa. Her name is Alyssa. Hey, I know you, Alyssa. And that is so empowering. It makes people
Yes.
feel important. And we do
100%.
our best to do things like that all the time. So,
I think Patrick Lencioni wrote a book, might have been even titled Death by Meeting.
yeah.
And I wonder if she got some information from that author. I also thought of another author as you were talking about your employees in the homeowner program. There was an author named Matthew Kelly, and he wrote a book called The Dream Manager. And it was a really great book, and it talked about this cleaning company and how they had it was a constant turnover.
Right.
Have you read the book?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, what a great book.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I thought when I heard his story at the University of Toledo award ceremony, that book came to mind instantly, because it's like you guys have a dream manager. You have someone there that's working with your employees and helping them, achieve their goals and dreams. And that's been near and dear to my heart for a number of years. And I found out a long time ago that folks will work a lot harder for their goals and dreams than they will for mine or yours.
Yes.
And
Right.
so I've been, trying to help people achieve their goals and dreams. And I have a story of a salesperson who worked for us. He's now a sales manager, been with us nearly 20 years. And his goal was to buy a bass boat so he could take his son fishing. because he remembered fishing with his dad. And so I helped him achieve that goal, so he was able to spend that time with his son fishing. And those are memories that he'll never be able to replace with any kind of money.
Right.
And so it seems like, you know, we're so dialed in on a lot of the same things. We could sit and talk for probably hours about all the things that you're doing and we're doing, and maybe pick each other's brains and share some ideas. But I don't know, Tom, we could go on and on and on.
With it, there's one last thing, boss, and again, the similarities, that's the way we're so excited about bringing you on today, Andy, the way that you operate, the way Steve operates, but people get pigeonholed. You're in a job, you're in a business, and somebody says, well, Andy, you're this, and that's what you are, and that's the only way I see you. People are never just one thing. They have all these underlayered talents that if given the opportunity, they'll thrive, they'll grow, they'll be happy, but we tend to do, you're this, and you're this, and you're this, because it's easy then to function. But you need to get underneath those layers and bring all those other talents out, like you've done with the young lady.
We have another guy that I work with, a younger man. He is he's on our sales team. And we do advertising. You know, we do print advertising in our trade association.
Sure.
He is the most incredible copywriter I've ever met.
Oh.
He comes up with our headlines, he comes up with the body of the copy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Really exactly what you're saying. He is our best, and I say to him all the time, if this doesn't work out for you, you could work in an ad agency. I mean, it's really, so I agree with you in finding those things and finding what motivates people and how to keep them happy. Sure, I mean, a happy work environment maybe makes a happy home and a happy community. And
no question.
I'm happy to be here because, you know, years ago, what you guys have done for the automotive business and with your ambassadors out in the community, you know, automotive sales and recycling have not always had the greatest reputations.
Right.
Sure. And for us both to work in our, you know, in our small place in the world to try and raise those up, I'm very proud to be a part of it. I'm very proud to be with you guys here. So thanks for having me.
You know, we didn't even get a chance to talk about all the community efforts that you guys do. And we were down last Saturday. We were both down with Connecting Kids to Meals. They were packing meals for the local kids. And Wendy Huntley does a great job down there. We were talking about how she's a ball of energy. And man, she just does so much. But when you talk to Wendy too, I think you don't have any idea how many kids in our community are struggling to just get lunches.
Right.
And it's one of those things that's mind-boggling. And you know, we've been involved for a number of years. I know you have too. And so we have so many similarities and connections. We ran into each other down there, and we weren't packing meals together. But I know your company does so much for our community too. And you know, not just for your own team, but out in the community. So we want to thank you for that. You definitely are a community star. Kripke Enterprises has done so much good. And we talked, you've been there 20 years.
I've been there 20 years. So before we wrap it up, I told you earlier before we were on, I said, you know, there's something that you do that we do as well. You know, your sign on 23. I know that you're selling cars on that sign, but you also use it for community purposes. So we're on Central Avenue, and we put up when we opened, we put up a big sign. You know, for a recycling place to have a big sign like you, we're really not selling stuff, and it's sometimes it can be so dirty. But after seeing your sign, you know, it was important for us to be a part of the community. And you know, when we are asked to put up community messages like you guys, we put it up there because so many people drive by it. It's such an amazing asset that people can only see $5.99 for a car and you know 50 cents for cans at our place so much. It means more. So you guys do great work.
Thank you, Andy.
One of the greatest things we did on that board was during COVID when a lot of schools were canceling graduations, and we were able to get a lot of photos of the, I think it was Northview and Southview State Local. We got some photos of some graduates, and we were able to put their pictures up there. And those boards, like you said, you can only put, you know, 0 down or no payments for 90 days for so long. But it reminds me that we could do more on that board for.
Well, we both probably can. Hey, we all can do more, and you know, I know you want to inspire other people to do more. And you know, if there's anything we can do for someone to help their company figure it out, we'd be happy.
I can say I think I know how Steve thinks, and after today, I'm sure that we're going to figure out ways that we can partner with you, Andy, and do things in the community and help lift others, because you're so in line with what we do. I mean, it's like a perfect alignment. So
Absolutely.
we'll do it.
Sounds good, thank you.
It was great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks guys, I appreciate it.
Yep.
I really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Thanks
Andy.
for
It was an
tuning in
honor. It
Oh,
was an
Another
honor.
it's
edition of
mine.
Steve Taylor's Community Connection. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone.